Welcome back to my channel, The Coins World. Today, we are diving into the rich history of a small yet meaningful piece of Philippine currency, the 10 Sentimo coin of 1972. Though it may seem like just a tiny coin, its story connects to the nation's culture, economy, and history in powerful ways. Let's explore this fascinating coin in depth. The 10 Sentimo coin of 1972 belongs to the second series of coins issued by the Central Bank of the Philippines after the country gained independence. It was part of the AMG Bagong Lipunan, the New Society program, launched during the presidency of Ferdinand Marcos. This era emphasized nationalism, economic reform, and new symbols of progress. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Francisco Baltazar, also known as Francisco Baltazar, the great Filipino poet often called the Prince of Tagalog poets. His most famous work, Florandi at Laura, is a cornerstone of Philippine literature. By placing Baltazar on the 10 Sentimo, the government highlighted the importance of culture and identity. The reverse side of the coin carried the seal of the Central Bank of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, symbolizing monetary stability and authority. The inclusion of the central bank seal was meant to assure Filipinos of the credibility of their money during a time of political and economic transition. This coin was minted in copper-nickel-clad steel, giving it durability and a silvery appearance. At just 10 centimos, its value was modest, but it served millions of Filipinos daily for small transactions such as jeepney fares, candies, newspapers, and other essentials. The year 1972 was also significant because it was the same year Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in the Philippines. Coins like the 10 Sentimo became silent witnesses to a turbulent chapter in Philippine history, circulating in the hands of ordinary citizens during an era of political control and economic challenges. Placing Baltazar on the coin was no accident. Marcos wanted to promote Filipino nationalism, and Baltazar represented the voice of the Filipino people, their struggles, and their dreams for freedom. In a way, the coin was not just currency but also a political and cultural message. The coin was small, light, and often overlooked, yet it was part of everyday Filipino life. For children, it meant a chance to buy sweets or toys. For workers, it was part of their fare or small savings. For collectors, it was an artifact, carrying symbols of an evolving nation. The design of the coin was created under the supervision of the Central Bank's Currency Management Committee, with input from Filipino historians and artists. Their aim was to balance practicality with cultural symbolism, ensuring the coin would resonate with the people. In terms of dimensions, the 1972 10 Sentimo coin was 17 millimeters in diameter and very lightweight. Its modest size reflected its low purchasing. Coins like the 10 Sentimo also served an educational purpose. By featuring historical figures like Baltazar, they introduced young Filipinos to national heroes and icons, making the currency not just a medium of exchange but a tool for learning. Interestingly, the 1972 10 Sentimo was part of a wider reorganization of Philippine coinage. The central bank gradually replaced older designs with new ones that better reflected the Bagong Lipunan ideology, where economic reform and nationalism were central themes. The coin circulated widely throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Though its value was small, it remained an essential part of everyday commerce, especially in local markets where every centavo counted. From a collector's perspective, the 10 Sentimo 1972 is highly symbolic. While not rare in circulation, well-preserved specimens in uncirculated condition are sought after by numismatists, particularly those specializing in Philippine coinage during the martial law period. The coin also highlights the influence of Spanish heritage on Philippine culture. Baltazar wrote in Tagalog during the Spanish colonial period, showing the resilience of Filipino identity despite centuries of foreign rule. His presence on the coin was a nod to cultural pride. During the early 1970s, inflation was slowly rising and the value of smaller coins like the 10 Sentimo began to diminish. Still, these coins were indispensable for daily trade and continued to be minted in large quantities. Some numismatists note that the 1972 10 Sentimo represents a transitional coin, bridging the gap between the old pre-decimal coinage designs and the modern Philippine peso system we know today. The use of steel clad with copper-nickel also reflected the country's economic realities. Precious metals were avoided to keep costs low, ensuring coins could be produced in bulk without burdening the treasury. For many Filipinos, the 10 Sentimo carried sentimental value. Parents often gave children a few coins for treats or school needs, creating cherished childhood memories. Tied to this humble piece of currency, the coin also traveled far beyond Philippine borders. Filipino migrant workers often carried coins like the 10 Sentimo as tokens of home, reminders of their roots, while working abroad in the Middle East, the US, or Europe. Culturally, the 10 Sentimo 1972 is a piece of art. The engraving of Baltazar was carefully detailed, ensuring his likeness remained recognizable on such a tiny coin. It reflected the skill of Filipino engravers of the era. Historically, it captured the mood of a nation at the crossroads, a mix of pride and heritage, government propaganda and economic survival. Coins like this one remind us that history lives not just in books but also in everyday objects. For collectors today, the 10 Sentimo 1972 is valued more for its historical significance than its market price. In excellent condition, it might fetch a few dollars, but its true worth lies in its connection to Philippine identity. The NGC banknotes. It reflects the modernization of Philippine coinage and a shift toward practical and cost-effective currency production for everyday use. As a subunit of the Philippine peso, the 25 Sentimo coin serves as a fractional denomination, primarily used in giving exact change. By 2014, however, its real-world value had significantly declined due to inflation. Still, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas (BSP) continued to produce it to meet legal tender requirements and promote transactional accuracy. Throughout Philippine history, coin designs evolved through Spanish, American, Japanese, and Republican periods. The 25 Sentimo coin, specifically, was first introduced in modern form in the 1960s. By 2014, it had undergone several design transformations from the Angi Bagong Lipunan ABL series to the improved Flora and Fauna series, and finally to the modern BSP series. The 2014 version belongs to the BSP coin series, which was introduced in the mid-1990s and phased out gradually by 2018 in favor of the NGC coin series. This version was notable for its simple modern design. Unlike earlier coins, this version did not feature a Filipino hero or plant, animal, but focused on clarity and usability. The reverse backside proudly displays the logo of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, which was revised in 2010. This logo includes the Philippine eagle features, 3 stars and a sun, echoing the Philippine flag represents the central monetary authority of the country. This coin was made using brass-bladed steel, which gave it a golden color while remaining cost-efficient. The 2014 version emphasized cost efficiency and anti-counterfeiting. BSP M2 reduced the cost of minting low-value coins, improved machine readability for use in vending machines and transport systems, prepare for an eventual transition to the NGC coin series. Although legal tender, the 25 Sentimo coin in 2014 was rarely used in daily transactions. Most Filipinos considered it to have very little purchasing power. However, it remained important for precise change-making in public transport, utility billing machines, banks, and toll booths requiring centavo precision. While exact mintage numbers for 2014 are not always publicly disclosed by BSP, the coin was mass-produced. It was one of the last years of full production, before being slowly replaced by the NGC coin series in 2018. 2014, inflation had significantly reduced the practical use of centavo coins. Items costing only 25 centavos were extremely rare. Still, BSP required banks and businesses to accept and process centavo coins as legal tender. Many people questioned the need to continue minting coins, like the 25 Sentimo. However, BSP responded that all denominations must remain in circulation for rounding accuracy, especially in automated system. For modern coins, the 1974 25 Sentimo coin was part of the Angi Bagong Lipunan ABL series, introduced under the regime of President Ferdinand Marcos. The phrase translates to the new society, reflecting the political and economic reforms he claimed to implement during the martial law period 1972 to 1981. This coinage was intended to symbolize national unity, discipline, and reform during this controversial chapter of Philippine history. The Angi Bagong Lipunan series was introduced in 1975, but many coins like the 25 Sentimo dated 1974 were preliminary issues or test strikes in preparation for the full release. These coins often featured new designs, fonts, and national icons compared to the previous Filipino series. 1967 to 1974. Surrounding text, Republica ng Pilipinas, Republic of the Philippines. Color yellow gold appearance due to copper content. This composition was chosen for durability and cost efficiency. Produced by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas BSP, in coordination with international mints or domestic facilities during that period. The 25 Sentimo coin was commonly used in everyday purchases such as jeepney fares, snacks, or small goods. Its value had real buying power in the 1970s, especially in rural areas. Over time, due to inflation, the coin lost its purchasing power and became more of a collector's item than functional currency. Featuring Juan Luna on the obverse was a powerful patriotic choice. Luna was the painter of the iconic artworks Bolerium, which stirred Filipino nationalism during the Spanish colonial period. This coin helped teach younger generations about important figures in Philippine history. Common in circulated condition. Value increases if still in brilliant uncirculated book condition or part of a proof set. The 1970 for 25 Sentimo coin remains a nostalgic piece for many Filipinos who grew up during the 1970s. It is a symbol of a time when the nation faced major political changes, economic reforms, and intense cultural identity shifts. As part of the Ng Bagong Lipunan series, it also stands as a reminder of how coins reflect political regimes, national values, and historical transitions.